Okay, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank, the 90, 60 to 90 minutes of fatherhood conversation for fathers, by fathers, about father issues, things that. And so this tonight's show is more of, and I hope we talked a lot the last 2 weeks about sensual fatherhood. And now it's time to, I think, look at that and evaluate it in another way. So we're gonna have a good conversation tonight. This is kind of almost like an advertising show for something. I really want to motivate the idea and have a conversation about nominations, and then give people who are watching in the audience the opportunity to go do that nomination. I'm Dr. Ron, the Fatherhood Think Tank coordinator, you know, facilitator, um, partner, member, thinker, and I really want to get our fathers who are here, old faithfuls, to be able to introduce themselves, and then we'll kind of get into this conversation. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night. Good night. Um, my name is Ed Tenney. I'm a father of three uh, young adult children, and I'd like to say congratulations to my oldest son. They had their baby Sunday, so baby baby Orion has made his Earth landing. And pleasure to be here. Looking forward to the conversation. By the way, he's one of three. He's got two older cousins he's got to uh, contend with. So there's that.
Mm,
They're girls.
mm.
Congratulations, Jeannie. Uh, um, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, 3 young women, 4 young men, one granddaughter who just graduated from middle school to high school, and one grandson. So it's just always a pleasure to be here with you.
This is always the most festive time of the year. I will say that if there's a time when you can see families really come together and celebrate and be festive, it is graduation time. Not all the graduation times go the way we want, but there's an opportunity for you to enjoy it, especially for fathers, to really get opportunity. Even ones who, they ain't probably getting no invitation. So if there's a will, there's a way you can see a child graduate. Go find a way in there, find out when it is, this and that. And for a lot of fathers, that's the beginning of, I would say it's the precursor. For some fathers, the precursor to the relationship they might be getting ready to have with their children. And for some, it might be the beginning of the new relationship that they're about to have with their children. Their children begin to go off and become independent in a way of leaving the nest, and doing their own establishing families in their own way. So always, I know this time is always festive. Anytime children are born, it's festive. It's a great opportunity, because that means that, especially for us to have descendants, that that means that our line is going to continue. And that means that, no matter what happens, our family will continue on. Um, and that's a wonderful, I think it's a wonderful time, because it talks about the cycle of life and the longevity of it. So, congratulations all the way around to all people graduating, especially attending on this. We've been knowing about the grandson coming. Um, so I'm sure you're glad he's here. You're gonna probably take him, put him in the air, do your thing in the air with him. So tonight, one of the big things is I've got, I got an email a while ago. I think I got it. I've got emails a couple times from this organization who does fatherhood work. And when I was looking, I'm busy with our own thing, but the name of their thing is called Dad Games. It's a community initiative created by a team of value partnerships, right? So it's a partnership they build and they come together and do things. Not too long ago, they sent me, probably earlier last month, they sent me an email that went to my spam, and I didn't see it. Kind of talking about their program and what was going to be happening, and here and there. So when I seen it, I said, "Hey, this would be a good thing to." I was about to do something, and I say, "Stop! Don't do that! Don't be so fast." Sometimes I'm very fast to just do things and be like, surprise. But I thought about, why not do that and give the opportunity to everybody who watches us, everybody who participates, to get the opportunity to do exactly what I was going to do. Have the opportunity to nominate a dad that they know. They have this initiative called Dad 100, and I'm going to pull it up so we can kind of look and break it down and talk a little bit about it. But also, it's going to end to our conversation of what does it mean to you if you were to be nominated as a nominee for like a dad reward, and how would you, how would that, how does that feel? How does that look? And sometimes I know that many fathers are pretty low key. Some are very high key. They want to be recognized for what they have done or what they have not done in some cases. But being able to kind of like have that conversation. But I want to present that information, and I really would suggest to people that if you have the opportunity to get the information and go to the website and nominate a dad, nominate somebody as a dad, nominate them, nominate your own dad, nominate them, so they can be a part of this celebration of fatherhood, and what I would consider a celebration of fatherhood. So let me pull it up so we can look a little bit. I'm gonna actually pull up the actual email, so we can look at it, go through, look at some of the things, and then go to their actual website so we can look at it. Let me do that real quick. I don't even know if people can even see this. It looks pretty small to me, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll read something. So it says, "Hey, good people. A few weeks ago, we shared something close to our hearts, the Dad 100. If you haven't heard." If you haven't had a chance to nominate someone yet, there's still time. And we're asking you to take 5 minutes before June 1st. And that's an important thing. June 1st is how many days away? I think about 4 days away. If that, today is the what, 26, 27, 28, 29. 30, so about 4 days away, to make it happen. This Father's Day, we want to celebrate them properly, but we need your nominations to do it. A refresher on how it works. Anyone can nominate an incredible dad, or a credible father, or father figure in their life. Nominate someone today. They give the website, the link is, and I'll pull that up and I'll share that and put that into and so people can see it now at the end of the show. Or they can go and look at the artwork that we had, because that is their flyer for it. They also say nominations include a short written blurb about why the person deserves recognition. 100 dads from across the country will be selected and honored as a part of the Dad 100. Honorees will be featured across the dad games and through the partners leading into Father's Day. So they have some events and things that will be acknowledged. And again, nomination deadline is June 1st. Official Dad 100 list will list release is Father's Day weekend. So they'll be dropping that list Father's Day weekend. And then you can also end up going to watch it on let's go to that. They have a Father's Day watch video that you can watch. It's not letting me do something. That's why I don't like to do things my own little way.
If you post it in the chat, we should be able to link to it on our own.
I'm going to.
You can't pull it up.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's see if they give us a sign.
Go viral, but they impact so many lives on a daily basis.
You know the one, the dad coaching soccer or basketball after a hard day at work.
The granddad that's got to retire to raise his grandkids.
The stepdad who stepped in, never stepped back out.
The dad checking homework at the kitchen table.
And don't forget that dad on the block that every kid can count on.
That's why we're launching the Dad 100.
The Dad Games 100 is a national recognition of 100 incredible dads and father figures across America, men who are leading with love and making their community stronger. But here's the deal. We need you to help find them.
Go to dadgames.com/dad100 and nominate somebody today. It can be your dad, your husband, uncle, brother, pastor, mentor, the guy who everybody calls when something goes wrong.
That's who we want for Dad 100.
Honorees will be recognized by the Dad Games and our national partners.
Nominations close June 1st.
So head to dadgames.com/dad100 to nominate. Let's give flowers to the dads who've been given so much for so long.
Okay, so look at that. This is right in. So that took us to that. What do you guys think about? I mean, what are you thinking about? What do you think about that? I mean, that's a really good initiative. Something really nice to be able to do, to provide the opportunity. I definitely want to also at some point highlight their website and what they have going on over at Dad Games. So, and they have the 100 dads. So, any thoughts, guys?
I'm liking it. I'm all for nominating an individual who's made an impact in your personal life or others' lives. I think that's a cool thing to set up a scenario where dads can be honored. Yeah, that's a nice endeavor.
Yeah. I think this organization might be out of Maryland because I see when I looked at they have some events coming up. And they have like listen, I'm gonna advertise what they got going on because I think that anytime that we can advertise something for dads, it's pretty decent. They had a call all dads. I would have got on that if I would have known. I just wouldn't have known that. But they have 2 back-to-back June 6th coming up. Father's Day fishing trip and Father's Day seafood brunch down in Maryland. So I mean, that's the people in that area. So if you're in Maryland, go to look up WW Dad Games and check out their website and start advocating for fathers. I mean, I think that this is something that can be done all the way around, and it's very simple, like a very simple nomination platform. It's just name, email, not a whole bunch. You can give a small blurb about the father, the dad that you want to nominate. I think that this is a very admirable endeavor to get involved to. So again, I'm going to put that information, send it out all the places, just so people have that information about it, post it, put it in the website. But I definitely wanted to share that and put that out there because that's kind of tonight's conversation. What does it mean to be nominated as a dad or get a dad nomination? And I think that this is something that really goes for the strengthening of fatherhood. Because even I think about it, someone nominating, as a dad for a dad situation. I don't know how I feel somebody nominating me as a father figure dad thing because of my own personal experiences and what I go through as a father, right? So it might not sit well with me. It might not make me, not feel some. I may feel some way about it, but I know some people, that definitely will feel, hey, this is an empowerment moment. something to reinforce this being what we've talked about in the last 2 weeks, being a consensual father, being one who is proactive and being actually what I like to say is just being recognized about what you have done as a father. So what say ye in the about that question, being called to be a nominated father?
I mean, in the scheme of things, there's pros and cons to it. The pros is I think any good pillar of society, good works, good service, or um, just contributing to the good in your community, or if not the world, is worth its accolades and applause. It's the pro. On the con of it, I think the title with the games kind of feeds the stereotype that all men, or particularly fathers, are capable of is playing. And that's all. And so I think we have to move away from the stereotype, because I know some organizations, and particularly particularly in Miami, Liberty City / Brown Sub, the name of the organization is called the Circle of Brotherhood. And so they're doing some very significant work with men, with fathers and their children. But that's not the scope of their work. But they're doing work with fathers and particularly their children, when they give them the experience, that father with his child, to give them an experience to not only go and get their passports, but to take them out of the country for the first time. I think that's their strongest. They don't, they probably wouldn't think so. For me, I think it's their strongest initiative that they have. I don't think they know the significance of that particular that initiative, rather, because of, they done it for a few years, close to a decade. So they think the workshops that they do on that particular trip is more impactful than the experience within itself. And I think the experience is more impactful than the workshop. The workshop is just an incentive or a cherry on top when it comes to the experience in itself. Now, that particular trip that they does, and again, they do it without. I don't think they have enough teeth behind it to really understand what they're doing. I think what they're doing is far more impactful than how they actually describe it. Because I was able to take a trip with them and to see it for myself. I'm like, wow. I said, you guys don't understand what you're doing. You guys are killing a very old study, which used to be called, and it's still a study, but I think we kind of buried it because there's so many other things going on. But it was called the I think it was the 5 or 10 mile radius study. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the 5 or 10 mile radius study says that the average inner city child don't get to travel outside of 5 or 10 mile radius of their inner city. And that's not a local study, that's a national study. And so with that, they don't understand to take a child from not only from a 5 to 10 mile radius, but to take them on give them or expose them to a whole new country, in the experience of actually getting from the inner city to a whole new country, which is passport process, and then going through the process of TSA and immigration, blah, blah, blah. I think that's something in itself. So, I mean, if I had to nominate somebody, I don't think I would nominate an individual, but I would nominate the Circle of Brotherhood as a collective for that particular initiative that they did or that they actually do without knowing the impact of what they're doing. And so that's the con, the pro and the con for me. But I turned the con into a pro by highlighting a group of guys that's just doing it very well throughout South Florida, particularly Miami-Dade County and Broward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we go prime time, y'all know we can't have no dead air, right?
Oh, well, I was thinking.
Yeah, I do know that, right?
I was just sitting here thinking about what you're saying, and I think a big part of a few things that you were saying. And again, this is the other thing about this being the think tank.
Mhm.
Sometimes I got to think about what you're saying, not just respond because you responded, right?
Okay, gotcha.
And I think that that's a big part because I think first, let me address the first thing you said. I would have to agree a lot of times that we go through this idea of relating father engagement with games. I have to agree. Like some type of sport, it has to be something that is fun related and interactive, right? And I think in many instances, that also why sometimes in mother father relationships, right, that mothers have a better communicative relationship with the children than we sometimes do as a father, because what we do a lot of times is fun stuff. We take them fun places. We do and if we are not doing the fun stuff, is we being the disciplinarian. So it's a thin line. It's a very, very, very thin gray line there. You know, the gray space is very thin. It's either fun or sadness. You know, it's no that in between gray matter where we talk about things and kind of engage our kids with things that's not interrelated to, like, you know, you must learn type of mentality, you know. And I think that's a great point that you made, that, and then you do see this. And I think that even, you know, back in the day, it's like, even when we're going to do something, with our kids, it needs to be football. We need to go play football. We need to play softball. We need to play a sport. Sometimes we might want to just sit down and draw a picture with them, you know, do things that would enlighten ourselves to be able to have a conversation with them that we normally don't get to have, you know, or be able to facilitate a conversation that doesn't come from punitive. Like a lot of times we'll talk to our kids based on a punitive act, but I think in this case, it'll give a great opportunity. So I'm 100. That is my, and I think that's one reason why when we was doing fatherhood mentorship, it moved away from that. People wanted us to do the, you know, we just did a big event, the Me and My Dad challenge, but also it was a great event and great time. But as a person who did it, I also knew that might have been the only time they engaged, because they came to the Me and My Dad challenge and they did the games, they did that stuff. And did we really facilitate for them to have time to really engage like we think fathers really should, you know, and really engaging, not in the physical, but in some of the mental and emotional, and so it is a, you know, that's a hard point, but it's also hard. And I was thinking about, and as you was talking, I was thinking about what's the guy's name? Roland Martin. I was thinking about Roland Martin when he was giving he was talking about, you know, he went to some group for men and this and that, and all he was doing, he felt like, was having game time, and it wasn't no real serious talking. It wasn't no time to really like they went and had a whole day of games. They came back and was resting. They had a big dinner, and then they was just going to relax for a little while and then play some more games. And then he was like, "Yo, well, we're not going to talk about anything. We're not going to have this. We're not going to, you know, have some serious talk." And I think that a lot of times people are uncomfortable with that. Maybe in the sense of having the right people to facilitate those conversations. I think that sometimes you don't need the right people to facilitate conversations. Just, you know, to make some ground rules and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to talk about. This is how we're going to groove tonight." And so I definitely see that. I will say that I think that there's a lot of dads who don't get any props, right? So if there's an opportunity to give, because even in this case, you nominate them, don't get them selected, right? So I remember the year that I was nominating somebody for one of our dad program to be the dad of the year, but they ain't selected. They select somebody else, and so it's definitely one of those things that kind of like push. Let's see what we can push to really get to that place. So, and I agree that I think that's a really good point that you made. Like one, because I tell my kids this today when I'm talking to them, and they're talking about, well, I'm gonna be this. And it's great. It's great. Let's talk about Liberty City. Let's talk about Miami. It's a great example. What I like to say to them is, kids in South Florida, especially in Liberty City, that they can say that I'm gonna be a baller, right? I'm gonna be a football player. I'm gonna go to the league. And this is what I tell my kids is that, they can say that, why? Because they have multiple people that they can look to, that they can look at and see going to the league, if they stayed in the league or not, whatever, they have that whole part, that closeness to these people. And whoever you're closer to and you can see, you can beat, right? You have a blueprint. And so I asked a young man, he was saying, I'm going to the league. My career going to be a NFL football player. And I said, who do you already know who's an NFL football player? Who do you know that in your community or anywhere around you who are doing anything like that? And that's where exposure becomes so important. If you don't get the exposure, that's what you say about taking them dads and getting the passports and taking them on the trip somewhere. That exposure changes your mind, and you get to get a realistic perspective about what you want to do and how you want to do it. So it is a really big part of, and I agree that a lot of times organizations don't get nominated for things that they should be, because people don't know what they really do. I think that many of our grassroots organizations that's working at the grassroots levels, they don't have the media machine behind them. They don't have some person taking their activities and publicize. Because I used to, one of the things I would say back in the day, like when I used to really I didn't like, but you have to do it, right? Is taking pictures, right? Like you having an event, but while you have an event, you got to make sure you get pictures so you can show. And it kind of like takes away from what you're doing, But there's a two-edged position to that. The funders paying for stuff, they want to see what you was doing. They want to feel good. They want to say, oh, look at all the dads we served. And they want to be able to feel them, fill their belly up with their photos and use them for whatever thing to advertise what they've done. But at some point it takes away, because I still remember this Thanksgiving time, whenever we would give away turkeys, right? Give the turkey giveaway time. And I would say that, hey, during the turkey giveaway time, they would say, would you take a picture? You ask the people you're going to give them a turkey. Many people didn't want to take the turkey. I remember the dads did not want to take a turkey. They didn't want to get a free turkey. Even if they needed a free turkey, they needed it, right? And they didn't want it to be like, oh, here's a turkey. And I remember at that point realizing that, hey, I'm not about to tell these fathers that we giving away turkeys. I'm gonna pretend like the raffle off the turkey, right? To like somebody, then they won it. We didn't give it to you, they won it. But everybody didn't know that they was all winning the They was all winning the turkey. They just didn't know, because I came and delivered the turkey and said, hey man, you won. Hey man, you won. Hey man, you won. just going around. And I would just tell people eventually, and that is, when you're working with fathers, working with a certain population of people, you don't have to demean them to help them. And I think sometimes that's what it turns into. Sometimes you think that you're doing them a favor. You're saying they should be grateful that we're giving them something. So why they acting so funny? And I think that you can't understand that unless you've been on that side of the fence. You got to be on that side of the fence. You got to understand what it means to look like you're getting a handout. Some people say, I want a handout. Some people don't want a handout. Some people definitely will take a prize, though. They win a turkey, they will take it. But if you try to give them a turkey and make it look like I'm giving you something, sometimes they won't take. And again, it's not for us. I think it's people who work in these fields to work for people to get caught up in egotistical things, because it's not about us. It's really about people. Right? And if you want to help them, you want to give them something, find a way to give it to them and also let them keep their pride, their dignity, or what they want to keep. And sometimes some people will be greedy and be like, I need 2 turkeys, man. I can get 2 of them turkeys,
Ron, I don't know what you don't got on the turkey trot, right? But no, you're correct. I think when we come to, and I don't even want to just say underserved communities, but I think we've become more resource-driven than relationship-driven. And so when that happens, we start to insult people with our giving. We don't even do assessments to ask what they need anymore. We don't even want to ask what they want. I don't even think we express concerns about what they need or want. We just assume whatever we want or whatever we think they need, then they should be grateful that we want to give it to them. And that's not godly giving. So I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. Even if I saw a person on the street begging or whatever the case may be, and I had to be conscious, because he had a homeless guy check me on this too. He said he'd asked me for one thing, and I think I must have said something about something else, and he was very clear. He's like, "Well, I didn't ask you for that," and I was tempted to be insulted, but then it took about a whole 24 hours for the humility to kick in and like for God to say he was right. And it's amazing when you may have the upper hand in a situation, because you may not have the upper hand in every situation, but in certain situations, I had the upper hand in that situation because I wasn't homeless. He was homeless. And the fact that he asked me for something, I kind of disregarded what he asked me for because I didn't think it was important. It wasn't important to me. For him. Notice what I said. It wasn't important for me, for him. And the fact that he asked me for something, I kind of disregarded it because I was in a better situation than he was. So I just assumed that I knew better for him than he did, or something to that point. And so because of that, I was leaning more towards my entitlement and less towards his empowerment. And so once I got that conviction, it took me about 24 hours. I made it my business to go back to where I saw this guy, find him. And if I told my wife, if I do find this guy, I'm going to apologize to him and tell him he was right and, explain, my wrong in the situation. And that was it. And you know what? Lo and behold, God made sure that guy was in the same spot exactly when I went back to find him. And I apologize, for being insensitive at that particular time. And we was able to, smooth things out. He was like, no, he didn't make a big deal out of it, but he was like, I was like, no, but I do owe you that apology because you're right. And I don't have a right, you understand, to supersede your right, you understand, because, I may have an upper hand and you may not. Or because you was, better yet, you was on the asking end, on the receiving end, I was on the giving end. And I think sometimes because we're on the giving end and somebody's on the receiving end, we tend to, neglect. I won't say, I don't think it's intentional. So because it's not intentional, I would have to use the word neglect as opposed to using the word disrespect. And a lot of times I think it's more neglect than disrespect. And in my situation, that's what it was. So I was able to get closure with that. And lo and behold, here I am, a homeless social worker right now. Later on, years later, I'm a homeless case manager, so I can get more clarity and empathy on, I think, people that I probably wanted to help since, or situations rather, not people so much, but situations I wanted to help since I was a child or something like that. So here it is. You think I would opt to retire, you understand? But then God throws you in the fire, in the belly of the beast, when you're around in the time in that career, like 30 years this year, actually 30 years in this field. And here I am in the belly of the beast, you know, when I should have been, well, that's a terrible analogy, but when I should be retired. Because I thought I was like in the belly. I mean, the only thing, the end result of eating any meal is the defecation. So I didn't want to say what I should be coming out the other end. But it's amazing how when you think you finish, and God will just be starting with you. So it's a humbling experience for me. And just being on here helps me to work through those thoughts and those feelings and things like that, to try to even find out where I'm at in life. Because when you think you know, you may not know. And that's where I'm at in my walk in this life. So just having all these different topics make me think about other people's situations as if they were my own. And I think that's the epitome of empathy for me. And I'm learning so much. So, you know, always thank God for this show and it being exactly what it is, and allow me to be exactly what I need to be, and that's think things out and to think things.
Well, both you and Ron would get my nomination. So I just think about, I don't know, today's social media aspect seems to be slanted towards patting yourself on the back. I think the thing that this group is doing is good in the sense that we do need to take a little time and take some thought into who was a mentor, who was a father figure, who made an impact in your life, and maybe not necessarily nominate a particular individual, but maybe even take the time to personally maybe send a letter, a written letter. Man, wouldn't that be awesome? To acknowledge those influential father figures in your life. Being a dad myself, you don't go into it looking for accolades. You do it because it's your responsibility. It's something that you wanted to take care of, and you wanted to do it the best way you could. I always remember when I would get the little handmade cards from the kids, I would be so appreciative of that, because I'm not asking for anything on Father's Day or anything like that. You don't need to recognize me. I'm not in this for recognition. But as I think about when I was growing up, I mean, I got to give credit to my own dad, in spite of all his faults and what do you call it, habits. man, he stayed in there. I grew up with a mom and a dad, and I got to give that man credit. He stayed in there. And there are other mentors and father figures in my life that helped build my character and who I am, that who have passed on, that, man, I wish I could nominate them for, postmortem?
Posthumous.
Posthumous. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I think for us as a fatherhood think tank to give recognition to others who made an impact, I think that would be a good thing for us to think about and process, to give individuals their due and their credit.
Yeah, no, I believe recognition is key. I think our engagement, as far as manhood or malehood engagement, have become a little antiquated. And the reason I say antiquated is because I'm going to tell you a story that this really happened. I was in a Publix on the weekend, and both the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts was at this particular Publix. You know, that was cookie season or whatever the case may be. So when I walk out, both the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts was in the front of the store. The Girl Scouts on one side, the Boy Scouts on the other side. And as I walked out, the Girl Scouts, they had their pitch. They was like, "Oh, we have cookies, we have this, and we have that, and they, the pitch and everything they had, presentation was on point. The Boy Scouts, they had a sign up, and they were like, "Please donate to the Boy Scouts." And so, this is a true story. Me and my wife always have this discussion because I think this worked for me on a national, because I wasn't just seeing Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. I'm like, wait a minute, what? This is like, when did this happen? And so here it is, the girls had a whole business model, right, on one end, and the Boy Scouts had a begging model on the other end. And I'm looking like, wow, this evolution thing, we're in trouble. Because back to my original point, it's all you was taught to do is play. And all your expectation was gains because you just expected, because we were men. And this is why I always talk about the male privilege, which can actually hurt you in the end, because if you're always privileged on something, at some point you're gonna become the prey. And with them, they had sexism had been expressed, what they call oppressed women so long that they created models or empowerment models from the top down. So now not only are they preparing the women, they're preparing the girls to become successful women. Whilst we were still talking about as men, and I'm not against the camaraderie and the fellowship it takes to male bonding, but what I am against, if all you can limit male bonding to is tying knots, you understand, and doing a lot of wilderness stuff, that it's not going to really be benefit you in the true survival of the world or society, then that's where I had to wake up call. Just on a Saturday morning, I had the greatest lesson just walking out at one Publix to see those two groups of children actually be teaching me something as an adult that I couldn't have not seen had I not walked into that situation. So it's a lot of growing because to do, and then to see the fact that that those young men and women are going to grow into adults, and how they may not understand what it is to be how to be companions to each other, because the society put them as being competitive to each other. And so I might not see the value of your companionship, because society says as a competitor, I make this amount and you need to make this amount, or I'm this particular pedigree and you need to be this particular pedigree. Even though you may add value to my life, I may not let the stereotype of what society say value looks like make me devalue you. And I think women, for the most part, or females for the most part, will have that empathy more than men, per se, and not pass up on a good companion simply because that companion doesn't fit what society say they should be. And so, I mean, it's just so many dynamics to this thing. But I think we're in trouble because we're afraid to be and this is what I mean, fatherhood, motherhood, parenthood, and just straight being a union and spousal to produce that particular child. I think we have so much pressure and peer pressure of what it is to be good enough, right? And you'd be surprised how somebody can just slip in there and say something just as simple, I don't think that person's good enough for you, or something like that, and devalue our whole relationship, something that y'all worked towards, something that you guys worked and made of value. And so competition can literally break down a valuable relationship. So you got to be careful with that, because you can have a valuable companionship in competition and make you devalue that very companionship you work so hard to build. And so, and that's just not with men and women, that's with fathers and mothers. That's with fathers and mothers and children. And I mean, even with children and their parents. You'd be surprised how our children will look at, and I think you spoke about this earlier in a few earlier shows, Tini, when you said that one of your sons, paraphrasing, when your sons didn't think like his life was hard enough, you understand, to fit into the lifestyles of his friends, because he did have a father and they didn't. And so sometimes we can devalue certain things that's a value, because we want to fit in with people who may not have had the values that we had. So, I mean, it's a very tricky situation. But again, the think tanks allows us to come on here and think those things out, and hopefully we can share something of value to people that's listening. So I always appreciate this. Ron, no dead air. They're killers on TV. You know that. It costs money for that. No dead air, Ron. We got to have like every second. I can't hear you, though. Nope, I can't hear you. Not yet. I see your mouth movement. I don't hear nothing. Nope. You were silent too long, Ron. Any thoughts you want to share, Tini? Okay, I can hear you now, Ron. Go ahead. Say something.
Nope.
No, go ahead. Say it again. No. I can hear like your background, but I can't hear your voice.
While Ron is trying to figure out the technical difficulties, I want to say that it's an excellent observation that we're kind of like in this devaluation mode, and I don't know why we're like that now, or what's causing that. I don't know if social media is the culprit, but I guess in this desire to fit in or to figure out where we're going to place ourselves, we do have a tendency to kind of devalue the positive aspects of where we're trying to fit, because we have this idealistic view of how we should be fitting in, and we think we have every right in the world to put ourselves in this position to be able to fit in. And I think you hit it on the head. And I think as soon as we're able to kind of come to grips with what is it? Trying to make the mold fit us as opposed to the other way around. We still have some work to do, and I think as we continue to think through these things and figure out how to manage, think tanks like this is going to help us be able to plot a road that we can, get to a better endpoint as fathers, husbands, dads, sons, granddads. So, yeah.
You can hear me now, right? Okay, good. Am I back on live?
Yeah, I see you got a twin.
Yeah, well, I be working two of the computers, one with anyway. Listen, I would have to, and I see that, I see Margot out there watching tonight. She said she agreed with you 100%, Tenny, that this social media at this point is not social or media, right? So it's called social media, but it's not. It has no tendencies of any of that. So there's no real social interaction that really occurs. Social is when people are engaged. Like, I mean, even in this case that we're doing this on a platform that is virtual, right? We are able to have interaction with each other. We're able to, it is real. It is not something that we're hiding behind. Like, I'm not somewhere with a mask up and I can say stuff that I wouldn't say directly, or how I would say a lot of that social. And we do gain stuff from this platform when we're talking to each other. And then the other part is media. Media is information about things that we would hope would be validated or true. And I think that's where AI is coming in and changing the dynamics of our interaction as human beings completely. I continue to say this is the campaigns that I see on social media are moving us so far away from the structured family that is the nucleus of communities and nucleus of us having what we need to have as a society, right? We're moving so far away from that because AI is presenting things that seem real. That, like, I watched this, me and my fiance watched this whole go back and forth of a AI relationship that these people was having, and everything was like these one line bits and bats and kind of things. And I thought about, like, hey, if we're watching this and we know that it's not real, right? We're sitting here watching it to see how ridiculous it can get, but it's sparking emotion out of us as we're sitting here talking and listening to it and corresponding on it. What do you think about people who believe that is true and what is then beginning to mark into them? And that's not just, and that's for everything, even in the bigger sense of when we look in going to us as men and as fathers, there is a AI attack on both ends, right? On the ends of for fathers and against fathers. And the question then kind of becomes is like, where are we able to identify what's real? I think here's Margot asking that question. How are we able to really see what's real and what's not real? And it's not until, like, I would think a setting like this that we can come together and begin to talk about what's real and what's not real from real people, right? Because I can say I'm going to see you in June, Lightborn, and I'm going to ask you about many of the things that we've been talking about, right? So, and if you tell me I don't remember none of that stuff, you know, then it's like, oh, it's not real. It was something that was fake, and maybe it was just AI, and so and AI doesn't have heart, AI doesn't have soul, AI doesn't have true emotions to kind of say what things are, but it does have the lighter to spark the fire of that. And I think that is a big part of what we have to be very, very, careful of and begin to, I hate to say this, fight against. It's a battle. I mean, people have all kinds of battles. I know that Christian warriors have their battle for the Lord against the devil. But I would almost say, hey, we need to start looking at this as a battle. And I'm not going to say I don't know if I can't say if AI and the way this stuff is operating is the devil, but the way it's being used is devilish. So I would say the use of it, because people are using this technology for benefits and resources to help. But I think that way more people are being affected by it on the other end, the negative aspect, and that is destroying our relationships, and then destroying our relationships with each other. It destroys the opportunity for people to become couples. It destroys the opportunity for people to become families. And then if we don't have families, we definitely not going to start being able to have any community. So that's a big part of, what I look at when I start weighing this out and where we're going and what's happening. And, and I listen to you guys tonight, and I think that I begin to look at the calendar to see, what our show looks like the week of Father's Day, Father's Time. And I think that I want to maybe, definitely advertise a Father's Day type of show where we reminisce or reflect on father and father figures who have really affected our life. So look, we already know that topic is going to be coming. So I'm going to probably advertise it so people can come on and really talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of father figures and how they have kind of molded us and who we are and how we operate. And I think that is again, something that is needed. Like, we don't need to be, if we could talk about these things among ourselves, we wouldn't have to then relinquish it in years of therapy, years of telling our cellmate about the reason why we here is because of all the things that happened with me and my family, and how I felt like, or even just telling our significant others of why lives are not where it need to be because of all these things that we haven't really thought about and haven't really addressed. So, I mean, I definitely am thinking that may be the way to go for when we come looking at that showtime, for us to have a real come to fathers and father figures that made us who we are as the people we are, and how do we recognize them. And it's not just to say, it's not just a moment of saying, oh yeah, the good people, because I think the bad people have good, and I won't say bad people, because I don't like to ever look at anything in a negative, but the people who weren't traditionally the way people think they should have been, how they affected us also to who we became and how we became what we became. And I think that's a big part of, something to look at, looking in for show during that time frame. So, and lucky I switched over here, guys. It's lucky I switched over to this other computer because the other computer is dead. It's gone.
Yeah, I think that would be an awesome thing. I agree with Miss Margot on the line here that it would be good to take some time and acknowledge those who have made an impact in our lives. I love it when Brother Lightborn talks about this pastor slash father who you basically sat at his feet and had confrontations with him to be able to uh, get some answers to your questions. I'd love to hear more about that gentleman. Um, but back to something you said earlier, Ron, about the AI. The AI, it is something that is of concern. But dude, the division that's been between uh, husbands, wives, fathers, sons, that has been happening. It's just more prevalent and more visible now, but that's been going on for a long time.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure um, with AI what uh, shields or defense mechanisms you could put into place to prevent the further divide, the further division that's going on. I mean, I've been hearing stories about guys who have they can create these female icons or avatars, if you will, that talk, and they are using these AI representations of females to be able to socially interact. You can you can dictate the character of these individuals to suit your particular niche or conversational aspects. Um, I, I mean, I think all of this has been going on for some time. I think the 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 fighting style, the defense of trying to keep the further divide, I think that is something that maybe we as Fatherhood Think Tank could uh, help to uh, overcome. I think about like my grandson and my granddaughters on the West Coast over there. The things that they are going to have to navigate and wade through with so much visibility, so much information going back and forth, the things that they're going to have to weed and sift and all this other kind of stuff. I am not envious at all uh, as to how they're going to manage this, how parents are going to be able to um, filter what's good and what's bad. And with AI being so, um, it's getting so good with how they can fake represent things. It's going to be an interesting battle in the years to come, especially as an OG, as we get older, trying to ascertain what's real and what's not real.
Mm.
You know what, Ron, and I think I was thinking this out as you guys were talking, as far as the AI go. I've seen AI used in a very positive way, and I've also seen AI used in a very negative way. But what I will say is, we were saying social media is a danger in social media, but I don't think social media is the greatest influence. I have to go back to something that seemed superstitial at the time, which was the creation of photography. So during the creation of, or the inception of photography, I remember there was a group and there was a common belief that pictures was pictures was like demonic or traps the soul of certain things. Now, it's crazy that may seem then. Now it starts to make scientific sense for me now, because I'm like, maybe they wasn't all that crazy. Because back, you're like, these people crazy. These pictures, this is a good invention, blah, blah, blah. But then when I look at it, I'm like, maybe there's some truth to that, and here's why. Because we said social media, I'm like, no, it's not really social media. The biggest influence is the camera. Since the very creation of it. And one thing about cameras is and at some point tempts all of us to lie. Now let's see if I can prove that, right? Camera is so tempting, or makes us so tempted to lie, that every time men and women take a picture, we're tempted. Better yet, we immediately hold our gut in. I haven't seen a person that took a picture, including me, and I'm like, where did this come from? I'm like, wait a minute. How come every time we take a picture, the first thing we do is suck in our gut? Unconsciously. or better yet, or we try to get what we call our best side. Right? As if all of our side is, but we will always tend to lead to our best side, our best pose, or our best attributes. And so when I had to go back to, I'm like, wow, you know what? Maybe because had we had a conversation to say, you know what, let's explore what you're saying about taking pictures of how our pictures will trap the soul, right? This is literally, that was their belief probably more than 100 years ago. And here we are 100 years later, and there is some truth to what they were saying. Because picture, we tend to lie more in pictures than we do in reality. And so, yes, there was some truth to hear something that seemed like a myth at the time that may actually be a science 100 years later. And so it's, again, I love this think tank. There's a lot of things to talk about. Those are different topics we can explore even more. But there's a lot that goes into to these conversations, and I don't think we have enough time most of the time, or maybe even not enough people to talk about them. So I'm always open to anybody that's willing to jump on and share their experience and expertise.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger part of where we are. We are not in a place that, like, I mean, the name of this is, it was strategic for us to come up with the idea to have this name for that reason alone, that we don't know it all, but we definitely can learn from everybody that can put in. And again, many times we say this. I know that's that used to be Rohan's biggest thing. Yeah, we got to get the women. We got to get the women. But I think that a great example of getting the women doesn't have to come on the platform. I think Margot is a perfect example. She's listening. She's giving us true insight and being able to give us what we need for this conversation. So adding to that conversation in that way. So I know people say, I don't want to go in there with no man. I'm sitting there. You don't have to sit. You can actually just give up. We're looking at what's saying and evaluating it and putting it in the mind of what we're going to say and how we're going to say. I mean, I think some people don't. One thing I'll say about this, we say a chant at the end of every one of these, and we say we're men of courage. We're men of honor, we're men of courage, and we're men of respect. And those things are values that we know that we bring to this platform. We have to we have to be honorable, honor. And when you think about having honor, that means not just that we're, that we have honor, is that we honor everyone's opinion. We have honor everybody's word. We have the courageousness to be able to say things that might even at some point not be favorable or what people might want to hear, having that courage to be able to do that. And the last thing is probably most important, is being respectful. Respect gains respect. And when we disrespect, this used to be one of my favorite things from 24/7 Dad to the curriculum. Respect is nothing. If you do respect, you get respect. But if you do disrespect, you're going to get disrespect, because that's what we give and that's what we end up getting. And we can't get upset about it because that's what we're presenting to other people in many instances. So I definitely, throw those things in there. That's what this conversation, our conversations that we have, they're not just, we don't, I like to say that we don't have any boundaries, but we do have some guidelines. We have some virtues and some values that we follow in our conversation. I think that's a big important thing. It's like anything can be said, but I think that also we know that we're to one goal. We're trying to enlighten, educate, understand for ourselves, because it's not like we're here experts coming to tell people stuff. We still working through the same stuff and the same thing. Some of us have more experience. Some of us have less experience. You'll be surprised how the person with the most experience and the person with the less experience both can learn something from each other. This is what we have learned over these years. I think about, when I think about the, what this is and how this operates, and taking us back to nominating and recognizing fathers. I remember that when I was writing my recognition of people to recognize for my work on this here thing, fatherhood, right? Working in this capacity, doing this. My whole dissertation is about this, right? It's not about some philosophy. It's about the actual things that I experienced, that I seen other fathers experience, and how I brought a therapeutic component. When I recognized for this, I had changed that recognition 3 times. One time I was like, to this, then to that, and to that. And I went back and made sure I wrote to all of the father figures who affected my life. And that was important. Those were the most important people for the work I had done, because a part of who I was because of how they were each of my stepfathers, my own father, grandfathers, the absence of grandfathers and, father figures and all uncles and all those things really make the ball of who you become. And if we don't think about it that way, we don't put it in a bow. And I think a lot of times you got to put it in a nice package and wrap it up to be able to sell it to people. People won't. It's just you rambling on. You just, you chatting and you're doing these things. So, I wanted to bring that full circle to the conversation tonight, because we kind of came to our time frame. I like to stay close to time. We got about 3 minutes before we hit the marker. But I didn't want us to, not bring it back full circle to what we really, really was talking about tonight and what was really important to us in this conversation. So again, guys, man, I think I can't even say it better. I think that we can think that a conversation is good, but I think when we have markers like Margot, she said, great conversation. And I take that highly, because we could think what we talking about is good because we talking about it. We could be like, hey man, we having the greatest conversation in the world, bro. Yeah, we got it rapping. But for someone to stay on and really, listen and participate, it really lets me know that the conversation and things that we're doing here at the Fatherhood Think Tank are and remain and continue to be important. It continues to reinstill that the sacrifice made to do it is important and it's good, but it also reminds me that how much sometimes I personally need it for my own self. I don't have to go to speak to a therapist I mean, I speak to my colleagues about cases and things like that. I don't have to go to a therapist to work out issues that I think I'm having in any place, because I have a group like this that I'm able to be a part of and listen and be able to process. I mean, and I know this because for years I have continued, and I continue to do. I have a group of therapists that I work around, and we have case inception. We talk about therapeutic cases, and that's for that. But I think in this place, it's for being a father, and the kind of father that I want to be, the kind of father I would like to be, the kind of father, and how that affects me overall as a man. That is the kind of platform this is, and I think that I haven't met a person who came on who seriously, looked at it and said, "Hey, I want to participate. I want to listen." That didn't feel the same way. I never heard. And again, people can be polite, but they also will be honest. They'll tell you, "Man, I ain't got no time for that. I don't need that. I don't want that." But it's very often I've heard anybody say it wasn't worth the time that I came to be in or to be involved, and that's important. So that right there, that to me is a nomination for the Fatherhood Think Tank Award that we get every Tuesday night at 7:00. I nominate you to come and join us in the platform and give some conversation and do that. I definitely want to again share that information. If you are interested in nominating a father, a dad, definitely let me pull that back up. So again, anyone can nominate an incredible father figure in their life. Nominate someone. This is the website. You go to https://dadgames.com/dad100. So definitely you can go and look at that. Just if you, listen, I hate doing this kind of stuff because let me tell you why. Because I have to tell my kids all the time, "Oh, Baba, can you tell me this?" No, go to your computer, click in the words that you want to look for. You have a world wide web that you can look up anything that's feasible, that's not outside the schools, perimeters. But you can go and look up and look things up. And so again, if people still need the nomination deadline, it's June 1st. So you probably need to do it today, tomorrow, the next day. They'll have an official Dad 100 dad list release, Father's Day weekend, nominees for the dad. Here, you can go straight to another page and go directly to nominate the dads. It's https://dadgames.com/dad100. You can also go, and when you go to the website, you can definitely watch the videos and watch the things that's there. Again, that wraps us for the night. Again, I want to thank faithful horsemen, as I like to call them, faithful horsemen, Tenny and Lightborn, Lionel, for always not leaving me up here to have to talk by myself, because that probably won't be happening, because I hate that more than anything else. I can tell you that, because I started looking at myself on the camera, start thinking I don't want to do all that. Well, I want to be able to while we still just have a few minutes, I want to just acknowledge just our sponsors. I didn't do it earlier, then I lost all the things, but I'll just go through really quick and be able to talk about our sponsors, starting with JAG, Attorney at Law. Yeah, he's in Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. If you're looking for an attorney in the South Florida area, you can look up JAG, attorney at law. His JAG, attorney at law, stands for Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. So j.gaspar@jag1law.com. You hit him on his phone number, 305-827-8087. And if you need to, you can definitely go down to his website. Oh, I gotta take this off so we can see that. Block him. www.jag1law.com. You go there, see what you can see what you need, if he provides the kind of services you need or what you need. He's there, and he is a member of the Fatherhood Think Tank, as well as a proud sponsor of the Fatherhood Think Tank. We also want to thank our partnership partners, the fraternity Omega Psi Phi chapters that participated with us. First, the Zeta Chi chapter of Omega Psi Phi in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Zeta Chi has been a long-term partner from the beginning of any fatherhood thing I've been involved with, and it's active as a part of their fatherhood initiative that they have down there in Fort Lauderdale. As we're talking about that, I just want to talk about, we had a really good event on last Wednesday night, but we have another one coming up down in Fort Lauderdale, but it's virtual, so anybody can join. So I just want to share that with you guys. So we have an opportunity. You can definitely join the Juneteenth, brother. You're on my mind. We're going to be talking about issues as Black men. What's happened when we stop telling our stories, and I think that just coincides with what we talk about, right? kind of coincides what we do here at the Fatherhood Think Tank. So this is on Sunday, June 14th, 2026 at 7:00. It's a virtual, just log on to the Zoom and be able to be in that conversation. So definitely, if you're thinking about, hey, I want to kind of talk about some of the issues that are going, because there's a lot of issues going on right now that we can kind of pretend like are not, or don't affect us, or we don't have any stake in them, but we do. Also, I want to continue to thank our partnership with our international partners. Zeta Xi Nu chapter of Omega Psi Phi in Lagos, Nigeria. They are a partner through the Fatherhood Initiative, through their chapter, and through the fraternity of Omega Psi Phi. Again, these partnerships help us continue at the Fatherhood Think Tank. So I would think it robbery not to just, give them a shout out, and let it know that we appreciate their support. Then also last but not least, our other partnership is through the Omega Lambda chapter, Omega Psi Phi in Philadelphia, the Philly Qs. They are another partner, again, through their fatherhood mentoring initiative that we have a partnership with them. So that, throwing those things out there, I don't ever like to leave out. Sometimes I feel like last week I kind of left out the sponsors and things. I think got to be mindful to always support the people that are supporting you. And then I guess last but not least, if you are not able to get in contact with me, having some issues, there is a fatherhood call center help, a helpline for dads, 1-877-4DADS-411. It's offered by the National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse and Fathers Incorporated. So there you have it. all of the things that I needed to get out for the night without being derelict in my duties. So I was able to do it. With that being said, let's get onto this chain. Get up out of here, man. I gotta catch a red hot. Gotta catch a red hot one. Fathers, if you repeat after me, I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I
I
am.
am.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of honor.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of courage.
I
I
am.
am a man of courage.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of respect.
I am.
I am a man of respect.
Fathers, I say that I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Championship fathers! But we still got hey, Tenny look like you're in the gym a little bit. See,
Yeah.
a little pump right there, brother. Hey, like we say, we always want to keep our kids on our shoulders and our families and our communities on our back, as we do as Atlas at all times. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you here next week at the Fatherhood Think Tank, where we'll have another 60 to 90 minutes of interesting conversation about a fatherhood topic for fathers about fathers. Thank you for joining us. And good night.
Championship father.